warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, have you ever sat in an English class and felt completely overwhelmed, stressed out, or maybe just bored with it? Okay, well, you are definitely not alone. I am Rahma Agnia, and today I want to take you on a quick journey through 10 fascinating articles. Alright, we are going to look behind the scenes of English education, and we talk about cool teaching methods, AI hacks, and most importantly, how student emotion and brains actually work when learning a language. Okay, let's deep strike in. Okay, first, let's talk about reading with Kedic and Icole 2022. Imagine trying to read a book in a foreign language, but you keep stopping at every single word. It is processing, right? Okay. That's what a fifth grade student in this study went through. Okay. To help them, the researchers used repeated reading and pirate reading. Think of it like going to the gym. Repeated reading is like doing reps to build muscle memory, while pirate reading is like having a workout buddy who helps you stay on track. And guess what? Yes, it's worked wonder for his reading speed and confidence. And for the critic, this is a huge one because it's super practical. But honestly, since the researcher only worked with one student, we can be 10,000% sure the exact method will work for a class of 40 kids. And now, let's move to the something we all probably use. Yes, AI. Giglio and Costa 2023 look at how tools like ChatGPT and Grammarly can help non-native speakers write scientific paper. As we all know, that's blank page anxiety when you stare at the white screen and don't know how to start. The authors argue that AI is like the ultimate brainstorming buddy. It can fix your grammar and polish your sentence in a second. And the critic is, while this sounds amazing, there is a catch. AI should only be your co-pilot, not the captain. You still have to do double check everything because AI can make mistakes. Also, this paper is a review of idea, so there is no actual classroom experiment in it. Alright, next we have a Baba Rahman and Rashid 2026. Okay, they studied how college students feel about learning English literature. Let's be real, reading Shakespeare or old novel can sometimes feel like reading a completely different language because of the crazy vocabulary. Yeah. But this study is for us something beautiful. Students who had a positive attitude and embraced the challenge actually did incredibly well. They didn't just get good grades, they also grow as a people. And for the critic is this proof that mean sight is everything. But keep in mind, the students in this study were all a future English teacher, so they were already quite motivated. It might be different for a student who aren't majored in English. Okay, let's jump to Article 4 by Murniati and her team 2025. Okay, they use project-based learning in a plant biology class. Now, you might ask, Faza, what does biology have to do with English? Well, it's all about information literacy, knowing how to search and manage the data. Instead of listening to boring to our lecturers, students did hills and own researches and made herbarium project. They had to find, filter, and use digital info themselves. And for the critic is active learning always wins. But because this was a highly specific biology class at one university, it's a bit hard to tell how we can adapt this directly into a language learning classroom. And okay, tell me if this happened to you. Your teacher asks you to write an essay, and you heard immediately start racing because of anxiety. And Sanel 2025 studied this exact feeling. He tested digital creative writing using Web 2.0 apps. He found that when students write creatively online, like on blogs or interactive platforms, their anxiety drops significantly. Why? Yes, because it feels more like texting or sharing with friends rather than doing a stressful exam. And their grade actually went up. For the critic is the experimental setup with a control group was fantastic. However, the study was quite short, so we don't know if the anxiety stay low after the project's end. And our sixth article by Farah and her team 2025. I think it's super interesting. It's look at how English teachers in Islamic boarding school in Indonesia adapt Western materials. Imagine a textbook story about John and Sarah eating hot dog at the party. It might feel a bit disconnected from an Islamic boarding school vibe. So, teachers actively modify these stories, changing the changing the names to Ahmad and Fatima, or swapping fairy tales with Islamic story. And the critics, this is so brilliant because the teacher's English while keeping the student religious identity strong. The only limit is that it only look at a few specific boarding schools, so we can generalize it for every school in Indonesia. Next, now let's talk about speaking anxiety with Charlie Yildiz and Kara 2025. Okay, many of us are terrified of speaking English. Why? Because we are scared of being judged. So, this study tests using ChatGPT as a virtual speaking tutor. And guess what? Students love it. Why? Because ChatGPT doesn't have a feelings. It won't laugh at your broken English or judge your accent. It creates a 10,000% safe space to practice anytime and anywhere. So the critic is this is a fantastic use of technology. However, Since the research only involved a small group at one college, we still need more data to see how it works on a large scale. Article 8 by Hokaglund and Ochak 2024. This is focused on a middle schooler. They found that listening is often ignored, even though it's the foundation of everything. When teachers explicitly tell students how to use listening strategies, like guessing words from context or focusing on keywords, the student didn't just understand better, they actually become better speakers and feel way more motivated. And the critic for this article is this proof that input feeds output. The data was very thorough, using student diaries and tests, but it only took place in one school in Turkey. Now, let's look at Angeli 2024. She argues that listening is actually an active social skill. She used cool classroom activity like lightning talk and two storytelling, where students have to listen to each other intensely and respond without interrupting. It's not just about passing a test, it's about building empathy, patience, and a tight-knit classroom community. And the critic is, I absolutely love the ready to use activity she shared, but since it's mostly based on her personal teaching reflection, it's lack hard statistical data. Um, Finally, we have Acuna Gonzalez and Diaz Larinas 2025. They study fifth grade using video-based listening activity instead of just old school audio tracks. Things about it, watching a video is much easier because you get visual clues like facial expression, body language, and contact. The kid understood the lesson better and actually had fun. And the critic is a very clear action research with a great focus group interview. The only limit was the short intervention period and small group size. So, what is the big takeaway from all of this? Yes, teaching English is never just about memorizing vocabulary or passing a dry grammar test. It's about the emotional experience of the student. Whether we are lowering anxiety with AI tools, making things fun with video, or adapting lessons to fit our culture, our main job is to make our students feel safe, seen, and supported. And I think that's wrap up my review. Thank you very much for your kind of attention. If you have any question or two, I love to hear them. Okay, see you next time.